Just about 10, 11 kilometers.
That's crazy. That's nuts. Share with you how I try to lead. I've been leading since I was 13 years old, so that was just like, it's crazy. It's almost 40 years. And one of the things I found out is that when you lead people, it's really all about, as corny as this may sound, it's all about luck. And I had, a coffee with Woody, and he's the guy in charge of Rizal, all the feasts in the province of Rizal. So that's a lot of feasts. And it's amazing because in the entire time that we would talk, about the first 50% was not about work, was not about service, was not about my agenda. The first 50% of our time together was about his kids and how wonderful his children are, and he talked about them with so much pride and a big smile on his face. He talked about their work, and he was so happy about them and how generous his children are. He talked about his businesses. He talked about, because we're bivocational, right? We're not only leading the feast, but we have our own little businesses to support ourselves. So anyway, we talked about that. We talked about this is what leadership is all about. And I know some bosses, and you find that in the corporate world, where the moment you sit down in front of each other, what's the output? What's the result? What's the agenda? Did you do your work? Is it on deadline? Was it up to standard? And was it about quality? And I don't like that. The reason why I don't like that is because, the thing about what I do is it's a volunteer organization, basically. Meaning to say, I'm with a group of people that are there because they want to and they're passionate about their goals. I'm not paying them enough. If ever I give them, it's a little allowance. And so I'm not paying them enough to become the boss that tells them, do this, or else. Or else what? They don't need me in their life. They're there because they volunteered. So it's more difficult to lead them. But here's my point, and if you're a leader, you've got to care for the people who are your staff, people who are working with you, because if you care for them enough, they will tell you, I want to follow you. I don't need a forceful personality, with the sheer force of my authority, follow me, and out of fear, they'll do what I tell them to do. No, the team that I work with, they want to follow me, and we love each other, and that's what leadership is all about. And then I met all these the builders, the feast builders. We had this meeting, and we do this very often. So we're a huge bunch of guys gathering together, and we swap stories, we share. So again, a big chunk of the meeting is not about my agenda. I would say, again, about 50% of the meeting was about what happened to you. Can you tell me stories from the field? Can you tell me stories about your ministry, or even about your life, or about what's been happening, yesterday, last week, last month? Just beautiful for me to hear that. So beautiful for them to hear that from one another. That's what it means. Again, it's all about relationship. I believe that organization, community, ministry, leadership, whether it be in corporate, whether it be in business, I believe in having fun. I believe that you've got to be happy in what you do. And one of the sources of happiness is really the kind of teamwork, relationships, I really think it's just respecting and loving each other. One of the things I've found out is that people leave their jobs. They think that it's all about money. Look at those guys. Those guys are working with me. Again, I'm going to say this to you. This is a bivocational ministry, meaning to say, if ever we give something, it's an allowance for their transportation and for their phone calls. Basically, they're there serving God because they were called by God. They felt that call, and number two, they're just having fun, and I'm having fun. And then I had another meeting with a bunch of guys who are more like the senior leaders of the different we call them districts, and it's again very serious discussions, but we're always laughing, we're always having fun. There are times when we don't agree with each other, but even in the midst of not agreeing with each other, the relationships are always a priority. The relationships always come first. So that's my message to you. And it's about leadership, it's about service, it's about volunteers. I pray that you got something out of it, and you experience more joy as you serve God.